Our 2-year update on the Freedom New Haven fence. Let's get started. All right guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're looking at this Freedom New Haven fence. We installed this 2 years ago, purchased it from Lowe's, did a 2-part series on YouTube, and it's been pretty successful. We get a ton of questions about this fence, and I want to try to answer some of those questions as well as show you how the fence is holding up. All right, so let's go in the gate. And you know, all the gates are working really well. No issues there. Let's take a look at some of the fence. Let's see. I had my son clean it this past weekend. The inside only. On the outside it's pretty dirty, but we only look at the inside, so I had him go through and pressure wash it. So the fence, I think it's around 250 feet. Starts by the house, runs down, runs the length here, goes over to the shed. Then we have another section. That's the last section we did. Connects from the shed to the house. So a couple changes in the backyard. We've got a hot tub. Installed that last summer. Big DIY project. Did everything but the concrete pad. Check out my channel for more information on that. Got a nice video on installing a hot springs hot tub. So here's the gate. We probably use this the most, going from our garage to backyard. I want to show you how this works and how well it still works. So we can't beat that. So pretty pleased with how the gate works and functions as it should. All right, so let's go down to the first corner here. All right, so here's our first line. Pull this over. I think it's looking pretty good there. Can't complain too much. There's maybe a little bend up there. I think we had one post here that dropped a little bit. I did a dry pour in all this, and the instructions said you could use dry or wet cement. The only thing that was sort of the quick set cement was our gate hardware and posts that we had to do just because of the weight of the gate. But this one dropped just a little bit, and that's okay. But the line's pretty straight. And this is the north side looking down towards the tree line. This is the north side. I don't know if you can see that, but it's looking pretty good. We had one post that sort of just went slightly like to the east. This one right here. This guy just moved just a little bit, but in the big picture of things, not a big deal. So if you can see it, it's hard to do it with the camera here, but pretty good on that one. And then this line right here is going east, and I think it's pretty good. Maybe there's just a little bit movement, but you know, it's really minor. So having a fence is a great thing. It kind of encloses the backyard. It's outdoor living space, and it's really kind of helped us with our master plan for our backyard. Whether it's, you know, doing the hot tub, we're thinking about maybe putting some kind of fire pit back here. Even thought about bringing the fence out to the shed and just incorporating some more space here. Maybe put another gate back here. That'd be really cool if you could drive equipment in, because I had to go out into the side of the shed or to by the garage to get in and out. So it would be nice to have one more gate back here. All right, I'll show you the last segment of fence here. And this one is where we had probably the most movement, just from one post. And you can see it way down there, but it's the second post near the house. This is probably the post that moved the most. Can't really figure out why. Maybe because it's on a hill. But this one kind of really moved in towards the house. So this one just kind of moved in a little bit, but that's probably the biggest change right there. Other than that, you know, again, 95% of it stayed pretty rock solid. So very pleased with the results 2 years later. All right, guys, the number one question we get is how deep did we dig each hole on the fence for depth? And with our auger we use, and if we go back into the video and you see our setup with the Massey Ferguson and the auger we had, you can see that we went down as far as we could in that auger. I want to say we went down about 40 inches. Our frost line, I think we're in 5B, region 5B here. And I want to say our frost line's around like 44 to 48 inches. And we got down to a good 40 inches. And then the fence posts themselves, it's like 24 inches of post that goes in the ground. And then if you need to go deeper in that, in our case you have to fill it in with gravel. And so you might have, like in this case, you might have 2 feet of gravel, right? And then 2 feet of post. So we tried to go as deep as we could with the auger, and for the most part, it's worked out pretty well. Again, we had a couple posts that moved just a little bit, but considering the soil we have here, I mean, we have clay, and when it's wet, and when it's dry, it's like cement. So anyone who has clay, you know what I'm talking about. And I was really concerned about the west-facing fence, and let me show you that. So looking again here at the west side of the fence, this is on the west side of the property. And the biggest concern here when I put this in was that it was really close to our swale. I don't know if you can tell, but the land goes down here. It's a swale that goes around the house, comes here, and then it meets up with another swale over there, and water flows back. And that water eventually makes it back to Lake Champlain. So we're really concerned about this area because, I mean, in the wintertime, we can have water go up nearly to the fence. That's how wet it gets. So when looking at this fence, I have to say it's set up pretty well considering the conditions of the soil. So we had that kind of one post right there, 1 or 2 posts that's moved just a little bit. I think it's this guy right here. Other than that, boy, no issue at all. So again, the fence, I think it looks great, you know, cosmetically looking at it. It's looking nice. All right, it's held up pretty well. Now, the second most popular question we get about the fence is regarding dry pour. And with the instructions from Freedom New Haven, they say that you can use dry or wet cement. And we decided to go with the dry pour. At the time, I think people were doing dry pour is pretty popular and so forth, especially on DIY channels. But in this case, I think there were some benefits. What's nice about dry pour is you can pour it, you know, get it set up, and then you can make adjustments to the fence, you know, for days. And then after a couple of weeks, you know, things will start to firm up, and the moisture from the ground comes in contact with the cement, and that's what makes it cure. But you do have that play in it, and I think that's really good because you can make those adjustments. So, you know, every couple of days I went out and looked at the fence. I made sure it was straight, and I felt like that was a good process for getting this in. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the video now, and this is the 2-year review on the Freedom New Haven fence. It's been a good fence, and it was a pretty tough DIY project. I won't lie about it. It was, you know, a lot of work, and it took some skill set and some equipment to put in, but we saved a ton of money. So, you know, a fence like this, you're looking at, you know, 250 feet installed. You know, that's $10,000 right there. So I think we installed it for around $5,000, you know, buying all it from Lowe's and so forth. So we saved half, and anytime you can save some money, you know, I think it's a good thing, as well as, you know, do some DIY. Everyone wins here. So put some time into it, and I think it paid off quite nicely. All right, guys, that's the update on the fence. I want to thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Come on back for more videos. Take care. Have a great day.